Now, in looking at all of this, okay, if I could extract the best dose of testosterone cream, I think it would be...
If you recommend someone starting on the testosterone cream, what's the typical frequency you recommend? You start out once a day, twice a day, all the pumps in the morning. What's your typical startup protocol with the cream?
What is the best dose of testosterone cream? Question is, do I agree or do I not agree with what our buddy Dave is about to say? Look, test cream is one of the most convenient, easiest, and most effective testosterone administration methods that it exists on the planet right now. It's got the best of both worlds in terms of convenience, rubbing it on the testicles or inner thighs or shoulders. It's really not difficult. Right? You take a quick shower, you get that out of the way because you don't want to be getting your body wet after you put the cream on for at least 3-4 hours. You rub the cream on, a couple pumps, whatever your doses, and then you head to town. Don said super quickly. Okay, it's very powerful. It's got a strong dopaminergic punch to it that usually rescues people that are having libido and erection issues on injections or otherwise crappy protocols. You can dial it in relatively quickly and it's readily available. The question though is, because there's so many ways to skin this cat, how do you dose testosterone cream? And importantly, like what would be considered the best dose of testosterone cream? Is it 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening? I mean, that's kind of the standard suggested dose. Is it 3 in the morning, none in the evening? Is it 1 in the morning, 2 in the evening? Again, there's so many ways to go about this, and I kind of want to break down the drawbacks, the features, and the benefits of various cream protocols to try to isolate what will work best for people. There is no shortage of posts like this, TRT cream and libido. This guy started TRT in April of 2022, made a bunch of rookie mistakes, quit TRT. He got so fed up with TRT that he fucking quit TRT. And then after a simple recommendation from a friend, started compounding cream 2 months ago and feel night and day better. Again, I've harped on faster esters, aromatizing less or at least producing less of an estrogenic effect at the tissue level. Guy goes, my issue seemed to be with injections. I aromatize more than my body liked. If I took a half an aromacin, I'd be good. But after switching to cream, I no longer need the AI, feel better, and finally have a better libido. I've harped on, the efficacy and the power and the convenience of cream. I use cream myself, at least at the moment. And I've tried a bunch of different doses and have been able to dial a good degree of them in. But in this video, I want to break down those dose strategies, all these ways you could skin the cat with testosterone cream to try to isolate what's going to work best for most people.
Just breaking my sanity. Can I dream if I was never awakened? Tell me where did we get?
All right, in the meantime, look, Cortex Labs is a performance optimization and hormone consulting company for men. We got a range of different products ranging from the source list. This is our most popular product. It's a compilation of trusted sources for all anabolics, ancillaries, and hormone hacking agents, including DHT, Proviron, testable esters. You can get it down in the description of this video and instantly download it right now. Torque Stack, basically Adderall without the side effects. This is still buy one, get one free. Don't mind the date there. Link and code is down in the description of this video. Lastly, if you need to hire me for coaching, whether it's TRT protocol restructuring or it's sexual dysfunction restoration on longer one-on-one packages, you can do that in under a minute at livecortex.com. I got a bunch of different options ranging from least expensive to more expensive to lots of time with me and a host of other things. All right, to kick off this video, before I get to kind of my recommendations, let's just see what our buddy Dave Lee has to say. Dave is a huge proponent of cream, as you guys may have seen on the last podcast that I did with Dave, as well as if you consume any of Dave's content. I mean, the guy talks about cream pretty religiously. The old lifting dermatologist asked him, what he thinks about the best dose of cream, and let's just see what they've got to say about it.
If you recommend someone starting on the testosterone cream, what's the typical frequency you recommend? You start out once a day, twice a day, all the pumps in the morning. What's your typical startup protocol with the cream?
If we've got toppy clicks and we can dose it in increments of 0.25 mil, 1 to 2 clicks twice a day. If someone is particularly old or particularly obese or in a particularly poor state of health and their baseline testosterone levels in the gutter, sometimes I think it's best to start with 1 click twice a day to bring them from here to here. And then after 12 to 16 weeks, if needed, we can take them from here to here. I don't see any reason why they have to go from here to here, especially if they are predisposed to developing side effects. If someone's symptomatic at a relatively higher free testosterone level, then going to 1 click twice a day might only take them from here to here. So it depends on where their baseline is and how much we want to increase it by. In Australia, where we only have the 0.5 mil increments, so it's like 2 clicks at a time, in those circumstances, I would just recommend people start with 1 click in the morning, and then, one pump in the morning. And then if we have to increase the dose after that, then we add the second pump in the evening. But, Keith says it very well, the most important benefit of, or the most important variable to focus on when optimizing cream is stability. And that's best achieved by twice daily dosing. I think you can do cream once a day. But I think it's always going to be more beneficial to do it twice a day. But if a guy sleeps naked with his wife, and that's an important part of their intimacy, then I think if that's something that he doesn't want to lose or something that he doesn't want to interrupt, I think that's a very reasonable thing to go with a once morning application. So transference via intimacy is a real factor with this. And if that's something that's going to be something new to adjust to, or, it's a complicating factor, then it absolutely can all be done once in the morning. But yeah, 1 to 2 clicks twice a day, depending on the individual, where their blood work is, their baseline state of health, would be what I'd recommend starting with.
Now, the question is, do I agree with Dave or do I not agree with Dave? I think the following. I have used pretty much every preparation or every dose of and frequency of testosterone cream, ranging from 3 pumps in the morning to 2 pumps in the evening, to 2 pumps in the morning to 2 pumps in the evening, to 4 pumps in the morning alone, to 6 pumps in the morning alone. Most of this is transcrodal, to ultimately 3 pumps in the morning alone, which is where I ended off. I also do relatively the same or pretty well on 2 pumps in the morning, 2 pumps in the evening, not applied transcrodally. Interestingly, I just seem to do better on that protocol if it's applied to the inner thighs or my shoulders. And what works best for me, I would say, would just be 3 pumps of cream in the morning. It's a fast onset. I feel the energy. I notice it right away. I'm fucking strong in the gym. I'm anabolic. My acne doesn't go out of control. My blood markers are really good. Testosterone doesn't go super high. I'm peaking at around 1100, 1150. Estradiol really doesn't go significantly high. It goes back down. I trough relatively quickly on the stuff. By the next day, I'm ready for the next day. I feel stable and good all day. Sexual function is really good on cream for me. And that's just kind of where I ended off. However, as Dave suggested, there's going to be people like with circumstances that should dictate how they dose testosterone cream. And what I found to be like the most influential circumstance is like where does libido and erections fall on various doses and various frequencies? Is a person sensitive to elevated estradiol or a faster shutdown of testicular function, which for some people cream when it's rubbed transcrodally tends to do through some unknown mechanism, potentially just estradiol, and hosts of other factors. Where I would start, so I think this is where I would deviate from Dave, where I would start on testosterone cream for somebody is a mere 2 pumps of a 200 milligram per milliliter Toppy Click, like this one here. This is exactly what I have. It's 20%, by the way. It's Versabase. 2 pumps in the morning and nothing else. That's where I would suggest people start. At hour 4, hour 5, go and run total testosterone labs and see where it's peaking, because that's just about where it's peaking. If you're curious about where dihydrotestosterone is peaking, it's got a lag at somewhere around hour 6 or so. So hour 6, hour 7, test DHT and see where DHT is. I would suggest at the hour 4 to 6 mark, also testing estradiol. That's really where you're going to see a good degree of the peak of estradiol, after which it'll trough slightly as you metabolize estrogen out of the system, or maybe stay relatively even. And then at that point, assess symptoms. How do you feel? Is the energy enough? Is that enough testosterone for you? Is by the next morning, because you're troughing and you're not constantly saturating the tissues with estradiol, do your erections work? Do you have libido? Again, the sweet spot in estradiol is really the determinant of those things, somewhat independent of androgen levels. And that's where I think people should start. Now, for some guys, they're going to rub 2 pumps of 200 milligrams per milliliter, 20% cream, either transcrodally or on the shoulders or the inner thighs in the morning, and they're going to feel fucking awesome. They're going to have energy all day. They're going to feel pretty good. Erections are going to be good. Libido is going to be good. They'll have cognition all day, and they'll get the benefits from testosterone, and they can just leave it alone. If you do that and you're good, leave it alone. However, in my work and coaching, I get to see a wide variety of people in different situations, which always brings me back to the fact that no one can make blanket statements about this sort of stuff. So it's going to be person dependent. And for some individuals, 2 pumps of cream in the morning is just not enough testosterone. You know, they're going to peak at 800 or something, but then they're going to trough quickly. People, I mean, I've got a few people who are ultra rapid metabolizers, so they need to be dosing at least twice a day and in higher quantities so that they have stable enough, high enough testosterone to affect nitric oxide, erections, to affect the neurological aspects of libido. So like if somebody doses 2 pumps of cream in the morning and they're really not getting, you know, the energy, but libido and erections are okay, I just would bump it up to 3 pumps. Okay, 3 pumps of cream in the morning. For me personally, 3 pumps of cream in the morning of that preparation is perfect. But it's just honestly a good fail-safe TRT protocol. If I venture out into some new protocol that I'm anxious to try with Test and Masteron and fucking Anavar or whatever, and I fuck something up, I always know I can go back to 3 pumps of cream a day. Now, in rare cases in that situation, people are going to find that they might need even a little more than 3 pumps of cream. Now, this is very rare because 3 pumps is pretty good. It's almost always going to take you to about 1,000 nanograms per deciliter to 1,300 or 1,400 nanograms per deciliter at its peak. Pretty high peaking of DHT. I see the outliers, and in rare cases, there are people that need more than that. So at that point, if the energy is just not there, if it's falling off later in the day, you're probably a rapid metabolizer, and you really got 2 choices. The choice there would be 4 pumps of cream all at once in the morning, nothing in the evening, or it would be splitting it up 2 and 2, 2 pumps at 7 a.m. and then 2 pumps again 10 to 12 hours later at between 5 and 7 p.m. Then you got pretty steady state, as you're troughing, you're peaking again. Effectively, you're setting up the stages for an additional peak. And then by the next application in the morning, you're going down, but you still have enough serum testosterone to sustain and you feel pretty good, and you just never go below your threshold. Now, here's where differentiating between the necessity for 4 pumps at once or 3 pumps at once and 2 in the morning and 1 in the evening, or 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening comes into play. It really all comes down to where does the estrogen go. The reason for me personally and a couple clients of mine that are on strictly cream and a little bit of HCG and some DHA and pregnenolone and really nothing else, and that's just dialed in on TRT that way, that 3 pumps of cream in the morning works very well is because it will peak everything, but the estrogen just doesn't really go out of the range. And then, as we all know, sexual symptoms usually ensue in that case. In that case, this is where the 2 pumps in the morning and 2 pumps in the evening, or 2 pumps in the morning and 1 pump in the evening come into play, because as estradiol itself is starting to trough, or as you get less exposure later on in the effect duration window of the testosterone cream, there you can dose more testosterone 10 to 12 hours later, and still you won't really peak over that estrogen limit for you. But you get the benefit of more testosterone and a more steady state fashion throughout the day, and you get the energy benefits, the anabolism benefits, right? The cognition, the masculinity benefits, those kind of benefits, but without estrogen, mucking up your sexual function. So in the end, what I've come to learn is kind of like Dave alluded to, it really just depends. You could start with these cookie cutter approaches of 2 pumps in the morning and nothing else, or 2 pumps in the morning and 2 pumps 12 hours later, and just sort of see how you fare. But in the end, just like testosterone cypionate, just like testosterone enanthate, and certainly like testosterone propionate, one is going to have to dial in their testosterone dose and frequency in a way which specifically keeps estrogen in a reasonable place, gives them the necessary benefits, the things that they're seeking with TRT, like energy, confidence, anabolism, strength, and that's all you're really looking to do. There are individuals for whom, because they respond pretty powerfully to testosterone, maybe they aromatize a little more than they should, or maybe not, but just based on the fact that they respond pretty favorably to testosterone, that need a click in the morning and a click in the evening, right? 200 milligrams per milliliter, 20% testosterone cream. That's it. Right on the testicles in the morning, a click on the testicles, right? Under the testicle, kind of base of the scrotum in the evening. Most people, they're still peaking at 800, 900 or whatever. It's enough for them. I'm not one of those people. I need at least 3 clicks. So I could feel more energized, but the more I go, the more I've got to look at estrogen and kind of make some other modifications to the protocol. But some people are going to be able to get away with that as well. Now, in looking at all of this, okay, if I could extract the best dose of testosterone cream, I think it would be a close tie between 3 pumps of cream in the morning, 6, 7 a.m., and nothing else for the rest of the day, or 2 pumps in the morning and 2 pumps at the 10 to 12 hour mark later on in the day. I mean, if you're somebody like me that wakes up at 5 in the morning or 5:30 or 6 in the morning, you're putting 2 pumps of cream on in the morning at 6 a.m. and then basically at between 4 and 6 p.m. you're administering the second set of testosterone, second set of pumps. What it's really all about is, as Dave alluded to, stability. I do think that that's necessary. And the good thing about cream is that once it peaks, it actually troughs from the system slower than test prop. Okay, test prop peaks and then it troughs pretty quickly, a lot quicker than cream. Cream will peak and trough quicker than fucking testosterone enanthate or testosterone cypionate, but it leaves your body slower. So relative to stability, you have to find what works well for the test, the DHT, the estradiol, therefore the libido and the erections, and try to stay there. Try to stay as close to that number range in really total test, DHT, but estradiol. You got to find where you stay in your sweet spot ranges. Even if you go out of it for an hour or 2 or 3 when you're focusing on work in the middle of the day, you don't need to be popping boners at 3 p.m. when you're fucking like trying to do laptop work. But then you get back into it as it's, 4 or 5 p.m. or whatever, you go on a date and everything's good. You've got to find, as is the case with all TRT protocols, where you can stay in the sweet spot range for sexual function. I mean, I think that's one of the most important things, assuming that, said dose also gives you good energy, anabolism, and confidence. Overall, I think people are going to have to experiment. That's honestly my recommendation. I hate the fact that sounds vague and I can't give you a definitive one, but I also strongly despise people who give definitive suggestions on testosterone injections as if, blanket statements applied, as if it's going to just apply to all people. That just isn't the case. People are fucking ultra metabolizers or slow metabolizers or extra sensitive to estradiol because they've had androgen deprivation for a while, and estrogen's kind of acting a little bit as an anti-androgen in that case. Every situation is very specific, which is why from a coaching perspective, I do a lot of fact finding. You got to get to the bottom of what a person's history is and what their symptoms are in order to make a recommendation. And people going into testosterone cream need to do a self-analysis, if they're not going to hire a coach on this, of their symptoms, of their previous blood work, of whether or not they were androgen deprived in the past, and then start experimenting, with, again, the base of 2 pumps of cream in the morning, nothing in the evening, go from there, move to 3 in the morning, nothing in the evening. Okay, then move to 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. There's 1,000 ways to skin this cat. You could end up on 1 pump in the morning and 3 pumps in the evening. Whatever fucking works for you is what you must do. And it's going to take some time, despite it being a fast acting testosterone modality, for you to figure that out. And you should want to take the time to experiment. It's worth it in the end, because when you find the cream dose that works for you, I can promise you it's one of the easiest things. You don't have to stick yourself. There's no needles. You're not sitting there in the morning having to warm a vial up so you can draw it in an insulin syringe. I mean, who wants to do that? You take yourself a shower, you put your cream on, it takes 2 minutes, it completely disappears on site, and then you ride off into the sunset. Bottom line is, for a lot of people that are having problems on long ester, cypionate, enanthate, and just can't dial in, cream is a wonderful, wonderful alternative that will get you the serum testosterone. Like, there's no question you're going to metabolize it. Levels are going to go up. All the metabolites are going to change and go up. You're going to fucking feel incredible. I mean, the energy from cream is really something else and kind of unmatchable, right? It's its own thing, similar to prop, but again, they're different. I'm personally thankful for the convenience of it when I travel, just in general, how easy it is. I don't have to inject when I use it. I'm thankful the fact that cream is around. I'm happy that many clinics carry it, and it's not going to be like prop, which at this point is discontinued in a few pharmacies, but which you can still get from high quality UGLs, like in the source list. I don't think cream is going anywhere. All right, boys, as I said at the beginning, I'm a coach on TRT protocol restructure. I mean, that's the bulk of my work, whether it's a one-off call with me where we restructure your protocol to dial it in better. I've seen everything under the sun. I just know what to do in certain situations. You can hire me for that in under a minute at livecortex.com, or you need ongoing help. For those of you with the budget, serious business people with sexual dysfunction, trying to dial in TRT, HRT plus, so complicated protocols, that's where a lot of my expertise really shines. You can hire me for any of those one-on-one packages in under a minute at livecortex.com. bodycortex.com. Again, boys, relative to test prop if you need it, DHT if you need it, high potency DHT gel, there's a source for that. Test of all esters, just get the source list. I mean, if you want to stop spending substantial amounts of money on testosterone and HCG as an example, also get source list. I mean, I think I just got 10 vials of HCG for some ridiculously cheap amount of money, like slightly less than I would pay for 10,000 IU vial, you know, from the pharmacy. I mean, honestly, it's like highway robbery with those things. So get the source list. You're going to save a lot of money. Instantly, your first purchase, you're going to make the purchase that you spent on source list back, and you have access to everything. It's down in the description of this video. Lastly, Torque Stack. It's basically Adderall without the side effects. This is buy one, get one free for a couple more days. I'm not sure when I'm going to end it, probably this week, because, you know, we're going to eventually run out of bottles if we keep doing this. Get it down below while it's hot, while it's buy one, get one free. Link and code is down in the description of this video. Boys, it has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. Hope you had a great weekend. Happy Monday. On to the week. A month and 20-something days until spring for those of us in colder climates. Can't fucking wait. Like the video, makes a huge difference. Please hit the like button, boys. Please hit the like button. It'll show our content more to you and to other people. Sub to the channel. Many more breakdowns like this and much more on TRT, hormones, HRT plus, everything you can think of. Hope you sleep like a baby. Hope you're feeling good. And I'll chat with you boys on the next one.